Hi, I'm Nikki, and today I wanted to make you a video about starting your own home practice because I think it can get a little confusing and it can really put people off practicing yoga at home if they're used to coming to a weekly class. Um, so here are just some of my thoughts about the essential components of a home practice, and hopefully this will take some of the pressure off the feeling of needing to know what you're doing. So for me, the home practice, it's all about the freedom of enjoying your body and the practice of yoga without the restrictions of feeling that it needs to be done properly, and that you need to keep up with the people in class, and that you need to be doing things right, which is so easy to fall into that way of thinking when you're at a class. Even if that may not be the intention of the teacher, as humans, we do tend to pit ourselves in a competitive kind of position, or compare ourselves to others and want to do the best that we can. So for me, a home practice really takes off all of those restrictions and limitations, and allows you to come inside to what your practice is. And in that way, it can be really quite empowering. So I would start by saying that there is no right or wrong when you're practicing. So noticing when you are having that feeling of, oh, am I doing this right? Or what comes next? Or, what is this even a yoga posture? So just trying to feel the freedom of, okay, this feels good, and allowing that to guide you. So I think it can be important to remember the purpose of the practice for you personally, and that comes to the idea of sankalpa, which is driving your desire for practice, or what is your heart's intention, what is your heart's desire when you're practicing. So if it is to find peace, mental peace or physical peace, let that drive your practice. And maybe drive is too strong a word, but just keep coming home to that intention or that sankalpa as you're practicing. So when you sit in one position, you find one position that you can hold, just observe the thoughts that are going through the mind and think, is this meeting my heart's desire? Am I finding peace in this posture? Am I finding peace mentally here? And it is interesting when you stop in stillness in your practice to notice all the thoughts that come up. And that is part of the practice itself, is observing your thoughts with curiosity and with kindness, welcoming them because they're all aspects of yourself. So it's a journey of exploration into the self. It's not about saying I'm doing this wrong because X, Y, Z. It's noticing that richness that is inside, which we don't normally get to experience and observe when we're rushing from here to there, living our daily lives. So this is the gift of the practice, is being able to still down and slow down and come inwards. So I personally would always recommend starting a practice with stillness and finishing the practice with stillness. So stillness and silence being the end points, and revisiting stillness and silence regularly throughout your practice within each posture for even a couple of breaths. But to begin in a seated or lying position or standing position of your choice, and just 3 to 5 minutes, as much as you have or you find that you could give to that stillness and silence, to come into the sense of your sankalpa, to be able to breathe, be able to realise what your body feels like today, to notice the emotions that are going on, and notice the mental fluctuations, all the thoughts that are going on in the mind. And just to be able to come into your body when we're living our lives, we're often projecting everything outwards, and our focus is very out towards other people, out towards other situations and other things, and the environment around us. So the practice is about reeling all of this back inwards and noticing what comes from within us. So what is it that we're projecting that creates the world around us? So just this moment to come back into the body, come all the way back down through the head, all the way into the seat, all the way into the earth. If you can have that sense of connecting with the earth, connecting with all the parts of you that are connected with the earth. So that would be my starting point and ending point. So always ending in Shavasana to allow the body to absorb the practices, and again for a coming home to know how you're feeling before you go on with your day. So that's the starting and ending point. And then throughout, I suppose the other thing to have in your mind is that it's everything that is a yoga practice, anything can be a yoga practice, okay, as long as we're practicing with conscious awareness. So it is that act of practicing with conscious awareness that makes it a yoga practice. It's not the postures and doing the postures right and knowing the right sequences or flows. You absolutely don't need to know any yoga to practice yoga, okay? Because yoga is union with yourself, with your breath, with what is out there, what is greater than you, what's above and beyond you, with nature. So anything that you sense that you can connect with, that's our yoga practice. So practicing movement with conscious awareness. And you can choose to start your practice, as I said, seated, lying, kneeling, standing. Choose a position to start from. Once you go into silence and stillness, just feel how you want to move. You might want to just move like this and just sort of sway and then lift one arm up and start to stretch. You might just feel like flopping the forehead onto the floor and staying there for about a minute or two. That's absolutely perfect. That's how your body wants to express itself at the moment. Then just allow it the freedom to go with that. How perfect is that? Because we don't have the space to do that in a formal yoga practice where we have an hour that's led by a teacher. We don't often feel that we can just flop to the floor if you want to, or actually I feel like doing a back bend right now and opening up the shoulders, but everyone else is folding forward. So let your inner guidance guide you and go with it and enjoy it. And so I suppose if you do have more of a practice that's quite regular and you know what you're doing, then I'd say it can be really nice to focus on a couple of sequences. So to begin with, focusing on joint rotations and then preliminary exercises, maybe some salutations, some standing postures, seated postures, lying on the floor postures, and some pranayama, some meditation, some breathing. Well, that's going to take you quite a while, isn't it? And maybe you do need to know a bit about what you're doing there. But that's a general kind of rule of flow for me when I'm practicing. So joint rotations, think of all the joints you have, and you can just move all the joints you have. Okay, just move and rotate or bend or flex. Enjoy exploring what all the joint movement options are in your body, and do it then with conscious awareness and with focus on the breath, so that the body is moving in flow with the breath. And allow some pauses so you can breathe through it. Maybe around 3 breaths is kind of normal class practice, I guess. If you're going to go to your average hatha yoga class, you may do about 3 to 5 breaths in any one posture. So you could do that. You could just do joint rotations. And then preliminary exercises are about just warming up a little bit more, so you can just do general stretches that you feel like doing. Think about, with all of your practice, the spine in particular. So your spine is Sushumna Nadi, which is your main energy channel. And the idea is to unblock the energy in the spine so that energy can travel through all the chakras, and it keeps the physical body, the subtle body, the psychic body healthy. So we tend to think about moving the spine in all different directions. So twisting, you can lengthen, you can bend from side to side, you can fold forwards, and you can bend backwards, and you can invert, so you can go upside down. And obviously you may need to have some guidance on inversion practices. So that's not something to enter into if you're not too sure what you're doing. A simple inversion is just lying on the floor with your legs up the wall, and that's something that anyone can do really safely, I think. But do consult someone if you're not sure. So there we have the different ways that you can move the body, and you can think about that, right, okay, I seem to be doing lots of twisting, but I haven't done anything folding forward yet. Let me try something where I fold forwards from any of your positions, from sitting, from standing, from kneeling. And that way you're just exploring all the different options that are available to you, and you're getting a full work of the spine. So pranayama practice maybe not so easy to focus on when you don't know pranayama practices, but you can simply focus on the breath and what the breath is doing whilst you're practicing. Always come home to the breath when you're in one posture. So say you're doing your forward fold and you decide to hold that for 3 breaths. How are you breathing? Just follow the breath. And we often say no need to change it. And when you start to observe your breath, it does seem to naturally change as we're watching it. So you can just watch the breath. You can feel grateful for the breath. That can be a practice in itself, just honouring the breath as you're practicing. And Ujjayi Pranayama is a breath that we tend to practice all the way throughout a holistic or a hatha yoga practice. And that's something that you can learn quite easily. And I have a little video about Ujjayi Pranayama as well if you want to learn that. And that can be one pranayama exercise that you can practice every practice and every day. And then just some meditation or some concentration, as simple as just sitting and focusing on an object that's ahead of you, or sitting and focusing on the internal third eye space, watching all the thoughts that pass. And you could again do that for a couple of minutes, or as long as you felt you were enjoying that space. Just seeing what comes to you there. And then you can lie down in your blissful shavasana and let go of everything. Let go of that sense of doing anything with the body and sink back down into the earth, that connecting with the earth. And you could stay there until you wake up. Or you could set yourself a little timer if you needed to get going again. And just be aware of coming around gently and bringing yourself back into normal life again, waking up a little bit, maybe with some deeper breathing, some rubbing the hands together, maybe some self-massage of the body, the face and the head. And we always finish by putting the palms together at the heart, and it's really like a closing gesture. You're bringing the both polarities of the body together, and these little chakra points in the palms of the hands, connecting together, connecting with the heart. And then if you feel moved to bow, then just bowing. You can do a little namaste to yourself, maybe finishing with a couple of oms. that beautiful sound vibration which connects us to the universe, connects us to the divine around us. So that would be my guide to developing a home practice. I would love to know how it goes for you. If you feel like leaving me a message, I would really love to know if this was helpful, and if you feel that you are more confident to start a home practice after listening. So many thanks, namaste, and I'll speak to you again soon.